What I wish I knew before returning my car. So, a few weeks ago, I shared a video about returning my dream car, which was a 420i Coupe BMW. And it was one of the hardest decisions that I've ever had to make. And then, after posting that video, I noticed a question come up in the comments, and someone was asking, how do you actually return a financed car? Because my car was financed with BMW. I want to answer that particular question today, but also more importantly, I want to tell you what I wish I knew years before I ever even returned my car. Because looking back, returning the car wasn't the biggest financial mistake that I made. The biggest financial mistake happened long before I handed over the car keys. And if I had understood this one lesson much earlier, I honestly believe my financial journey would have looked very differently. And now, before I continue, I just want to say this. I am not a financial advisor, and everyone's finance agreement is different. So what I'm doing in this video, I'm simply sharing what I learned from my own experience in the hope that it helps someone else out there to make a better decision. And one thing I wish I understood better when I was buying the car was the difference between financing the car with the intention of eventually owning it versus leasing a car. So at the time when I bought the car, I already knew this wasn't a car that I planned to keep forever, but I still chose a finance structure that assumed I would. So that was one mistake. And then looking back, I probably would have asked more questions before signing. Now, if you do find yourself in a situation where you can no longer afford your car, there are different options that are available on your depending on your circumstances. So other people, what they do, some sell the car privately, and then some decide to trade it in, and then some sell it to the dealerships or the companies that they use to buy the vehicles. And then others return it to the financier where the vehicle may be sold or auctioned. And then if the amount received doesn't settle what is still owed, there may be a shortfall that needs to be paid by you. So you need to take that into account. So every situation is different. So it's important to understand your own agreement before making a decision. But here's the thing. So as painful as returning my car was, that wasn't actually the lesson that changed my life. So the lesson that did change my life had nothing to do with cars. It had everything to do with money. And at the same time, some of you know, I am or I was a chartered accountant by then. And I had done everything I believed I was supposed to do. I had studied, went to university. I had even wrote the difficult board exams. I had worked hard. I had built a career. And I thought that once I had this respected profession and a good salary, everything else would just naturally fall into place. I thought one salary would take care of everything. One salary would take care of the bond. It would be able to take care of the car. It would be able to take care of the children. It will be able to help in the family. It would be able to save for retirement, be enough for traveling the world, for building wealth, and still also be enough for emergencies and also every single dream that I had growing up. But now looking back, I don't think one salary was ever designed to carry all of that. And I think that's where so many professionals find themselves today. You'll find that life changes very quickly. You get married, and then you have a couple of children, and then you find that now there's also school fees, and the school fees also increases. There's also medical expenses that also increase, and also your responsibilities as an adult, they increase, but your income doesn't always increase at the same pace. And for a long time, I blamed myself. I thought maybe I had I had failed. I thought maybe I wasn't disciplined enough, and maybe I just was not as good with money. But today I see it differently. I don't even think my biggest mistake was buying my dream car. I think my biggest mistake was believing that one source of income had to carry every dream that I had. So that one realization changed the way that I looked at money for forever. So now instead of asking, how do I earn a bigger salary? I started asking myself this question: how do I create another stream of income? And for me, that question is what completely changed the direction of my life. I started then learning. I started then experimenting. And then some of the ideas that I experimented, they failed. I didn't make a cent, or I lost money. Some I made very little, but I still kept going. And then eventually, I also discovered YouTube. And it's not because I wanted to become famous. Yes, I did want to make an impact. And it's not because I thought it was going to happen overnight, but it's because I wanted to build another source of income that wasn't completely dependent on my job. I didn't want to blame my employer for my failures. And over time, that decision completely changed my life. And today, one of the reasons I teach YouTube is not because I think everyone should become a YouTuber. It's because I know what it feels like to be financially stuck. I know. I know what it feels like to have dreams that seem bigger than your paycheck. And I also know how it feels like to discover that there are more options than you realized. And that's actually one of the reasons as well why I've started again hosting the physical YouTube classes. And it's not because YouTube is the only answer, but it's because it was one of the answers that changed my life. And if I can help someone else build an additional source of income, then sharing what I've learned is worth it. So if there's one thing that I wish I knew before returning my car, is this: don't wait until life forces you to build another source of income. You want to start while your job is still paying you. You want to be able to give yourself options, because your career doesn't have to be your only source of opportunity. And your current financial situation doesn't have to be the end of your story. So let me know, what's the one money lesson you wish someone had taught you much, much earlier in life?